Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Final Fantasy Exvius video, and today we're looking at all of the new Final Fantasy 7 Remake units. And before we begin, if you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe because I do a lot of reviews on all kind of units, global and JP. And at the same time, I'm going to go over my review score very quickly because I know there's probably going to be some new players or new people coming to my channel. So 7 is the baseline score for my reviews. So 7 is like the average baseline score. Anything above 7 is going to be quite good. Anything below 7 is going to start becoming questionable, or you might not want to use them. So, with that out of the way, Jessie's STMR is strange because we'll go into it more in detail, but it gives her 30% targeting chance and also 30% evasion, which is nice, but 20% elemental resistance for all elements on a hat is quite nice because there's not very many of those. There's not very much elemental resistance that's on a hat form. So it's pretty useful. Triple cast for all abilities, including her magic, and she has 300% attack buff on her green magic, like if you awaken it to, I think, +3. And also she has a 280% magic buff on a green magic ability as well. She has Entrust, 80% full break on demand, so you can use it whenever. Also 100% all elemental and para on demand. I know there's other units out there that can do higher than that, but she's a 5 star, so it's much easier to obtain. And here is the reason why this is so strange. She has a 100% chance of being targeted, but only for her on her STMR gives her 30% chance of being targeted. So I'm guessing that in a way you can make it like it's not technically, it's quote unquote 130% targeting chance, but technically it doesn't really it's a very fine line of a gray area where basically someone has if two people have 100% targeting chance, then I think it's like up in the air, but technically you can maybe go higher than it. It's kind of like a weird gray area where it's a weird mechanic that doesn't really go into very much, but that's the only thing I can think of why that would even exist, because she already has. And she's one of the first units in the game to have this. I know there's Kenny Crow apparently, that was mentioned to me, but I guess this is the second unit that has 100% chance of being targeted with nothing else, just passive wise, 100% chance. So the STMR is very questionable. I'm assuming that's how it works, as if you equip this, then she's going to be more targeted chance than someone else who has 100%. That's my only guess. That's a very educated guess, but it's the only thing that makes sense to me. If you guys have any other information than that, so let me know in the comment section down below. 50% physical evasion, which is nice. 87% defense and spirit break, which is quite nice on a 5 star. On our Lone Burst, of course, it's not a kind of cooldown or anything, unfortunately, so you have to build that up. And she has 120% all elemental and para, which I think is the highest, other than Bina and Lid. I think they have some imperils for some elements at 120% or something like that, and Gilgamesh has something like that, but this is a 5 star, so it's much more accessible. So I couldn't think of very many cons. It's just that she doesn't have very many tanky passives, so she relies on evasion basic. You have to build her for evasion, otherwise she's just very squishy. And the best part for you guys is that she's a free-to-play option for high defense and spirit breaks, because on the JB side, only Hawkeye has 87%. Also, Coral has 80, but his is on his little verse too. So only 2 people have defense breaks that are that high, and also Lightning Nia Vision is the only one who has 90% spirit break. So 87% defense and spirit break combined is quite nice. Is very versatile. You can build her Lone Burst build, also being evasion, so it's quite nice as well. So I think that she's quite nice. I think I'm actually going to give her a 7 out of 10. I think that she's quite good as a 5 to 7 star. Usually 5 to 7 stars on my reviews get a little lower score because they're not as useful. They're kind of built as just, filler units on the banner, but I think that she's pretty good. So make sure to look out for her in the future if you need that kind of stuff. We got Rufus the God, Nia Vision Awakened. And he has a lot of things going on for him, including one of the things that I needed for him for sure, triple cast for all of his abilities. He really needed that. One thing that I was not expecting is 100% accuracy for himself. That's really high. That's better than, I think that's better than Onion Knight. And he's the one who's built for evasion or accuracy. So he basically has 100% accuracy even as a true dual unit for 4 turns. That's insane. It's insane for certain situations, I think. Maybe in the future it'll be more useful, but it's only useful for one trial, but still good. 130% Lightning Imperial, which is nice. 200% Beast Killer, 100% Human Killer for both. I think it's both sides. He now has 600% or 6 times cap with no Lightning STMR needed or anything. He just has it. Very nice. He has preemptive 70% full break for all enemies. That's the best part, all enemies. If it was just for one enemy, it wouldn't be nearly as good. But for all enemies, you have a preemptive break. Very nice. So, if for some reason in the future, you need a preemptive cover, and the damage is just too high for Finzi, a theoretical situation, even if it's not Finzi, maybe a future tank that has preemptive cover, somehow the damage is just so incredibly high that you need this preemptive break. That's when it would be useful. It's not really that useful otherwise, because you can build Finzi to resist pretty much anything preemptively that any boss would do, but it's there as an option. 70% is not nothing to laugh about as a preemptive attack, because usually bosses are not buffed unless they make a boss that's buffed at the beginning. And Brave Shift is non-elemental tag attack and also dark tag attack. His Olympus is non-elemental tag attack, so you can imbue him with something for that. And 130% Dark Imperil. Don't get confused though, like I said, his Olympus is non-elemental in his Brave Shift form. He just has 130% Dark Imperil, which is nice. And he also has a very unique passive, which I don't think very many have. I think there's a few, but not very many. He has 100% attack break resist in his passive, so basically, I think he just has a high chance of not being broken, or it's just he is resistant to it, which is nice. So there's not very many other cons other than no infinite turns, but it's okay because both sides are okay. And no secret mod buffs, so all of his older moves aren't really worth using anymore. But otherwise he's quite good. I think that he needs some help with imbues, but that's the only thing I can think of as like a con. He needs help with imbues. I know he has lightning imbue already, but it's kind of like you'd rather just have someone else do it. So I think that he's insanely strong for Neo Vision Awakening, I think, compared to what it was before. So there definitely will be a MLG video for those of you guys looking forward to that. And I think I'm going to give him an 8.5 out of 10. I think that the 100% accuracy for himself is insane for maybe in the future. Maybe in the future there'll be another Omega trial or something else that requires evasion. I think that's 100% just for himself, just like that. It's not a cooldown or anything like that. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Moving on, we got the free unit. You can get this guy to Neo Vision Awaken for free in the event right now. So 85, I just wanted to put this because it's okay. It's pretty decent chaining. 85 times Stardust Ray Lightning Chain. He also has the preemptive full break AoE, nice, 200% TDH. 200% machine and also 100% human killer. Brave Shift form. They have triple quad cast. And I maybe wonder why they have quad cast. Because they are a ace type, similar to Lastwell in his Brave Shift form. The kimono version. The CG kimono version. He also has, this unfortunately won't be able to chain together because they're only tag attacks. They have Wind Earth tag attacks, ace type, and also their Olympus is the same thing, magic, which can be imbued damage with a tag attack, 125% Wind and Earth Imperil. So there's a lot of situations, there's a lot of problems with them, unfortunately. No infinite turns, no way to imbue for their Olympus. They have no, I looked through his entire kit, he has no imbues whatsoever. Unless I'm missing something here, guys, I don't see anything. He has like lightning support, but he has no way of lightning imbuing, so you need help with that. And he's stuck to physical and magical TDH with no 5 times cap, so their damage is going to be very low. Basically, you're only even using them as a support tag attacker, and not for the damage, because you're not going to get a lot of damage out of them. No way. So I'm just going to give them 7 out of 10 as well as Jessie. So I mean, they seem okay. I think they're like around the level of not damage wise, just like on the usefulness of like Charlotte and Fistless on a different scale, because at least Charlotte and Fistless have the break gauge for guns, and they don't have that. So decent thunder support and all that kind of good stuff, but just not damage wise, they're not going to be very strong. We have Descendant of Cetra Aerith. So her STMR is pretty good, I would say. In fact, I think it's quite good only for Final Fantasy 7 units though. Anyone can equip this for 48 attack, 68 magic and spirit, but only Final Fantasy 7 units can get the static attack, magic, spirit, and HP of 500. So that's quite good for them. And you could potentially get that for free as long as you play the game and you get the shards for her, because you can get her EX2 for free while playing the game. And you get it for free on login. You get the base unit for free. Infinite turns, light imbue, 30. She has light imbue for all allies. Also 30% light boost from a physical magical on demand for all allies. Dual cast. Now she also has quad cast. She has quad cast because she can quad cast chain, light chaining. So that's useful. Also 200% spirit TDH, 100% magic TDH. She does have the 5x cap, unlike the other unit that we just talked about. She has 200% demon and also human killers. And in her limbers, I wanted to highlight this. Light imbue for all allies, 45% light boost. If you guys have been using Bards on the global side, you know how strong 45% elemental amp is. And she has the strength to have 400% full stat buff, which is complete power creep at this point, and also 250% limb burst damage AoE buff. And her brave shift form is very similar, except she has it's just the fire. I mean, it's the light imbue boost and stuff like that, but it's just for fire instead. And she has attack for fire and her brave shift and limb burst. She also has the 400% stat buff and also 250% limb burst damage buff AoE. I couldn't think of very many cons other than you need the EX3 to get her best ability of having a rod and barrel and also some other buffs. And yeah, that's I know it's pretty controversial for that. And her mod buffs, her mods are not really the highest, but I guess you're not really expecting her to do a lot of damage, because she's more of like a buffer that can chain as well after buffing. So I don't know, like for a free unit, you get her for free, and you can work towards getting EX3 on your own by doing the shard run. It'll take a long time, but you get it for free. You get her to EX2 for free. So it's kind of hard to judge her, because she's basically the free-to-play option for all these kind of things. She has 400% stat buff for free. Like you get this unit for free. So it's kind of hard to grade her in this situation, because she is technically on the banner. You can pull for her as well, but you can get her for free. Like I'm going towards 8.5 range to 9. Like I'm in the middle of I'm like on the crossroads of like 9 to 8.5, because it's kind of hard to give her a good score and a bad score, because she's free but also on a banner. So I'm gonna say like in the 8.7. 8.7 is my score. It's kind of weird. Hope you guys understand this. And finally, we have Avalanche Tifa here, whose STMR is insane power creep, but we're going to talk about maybe not so useful. 82 attack, 48 defense and spirit, 100% charm resist for everybody. This is for everybody who equips it, but only for I think only certain Final Fantasy 7 units. I'm not sure if it's all of them, because it had a very short list. But I think I just put Final Fantasy 7 there just to be safe. Attack, defense, spirit, and HP flat 500, and also 50% limb burst damage, which is good for her. Now this is good for her, but for anyone else, I would still say that Red 13's STMR is probably still better, because his gives MP and also gives limb burst fill rate. I think that Red 13's is still. Whenever something like this comes out, I was like, oh, is it better than Red 13's? Because his gives so much bonuses. I still think that Red 13's on non-Final Fantasy 7 units is still better. But of course, this is best in slot for her. Of course, definitely 100%. I'm not going to argue that. But I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm going to go on my way to get this, just to equip this onto someone for EPing No. I would still equip 2 Red 13 STMRs over this and anyone else. So anyways, infinite turns of course, because this unit is not gotten for free. You have to pull for her. 50% water amp, 300% attack buff, 250% limit damage buff, and also 60 LB fill for herself if you max her limit, which of course you would have to do to make her useful. Unfortunately, it's only for one use, but it's okay. Stardust Ray of 72 times, 120% water in peril, and a 20% amp instead, so you basically always get an amp of some kind. Her limit burst is a 25% fist in peril, which is the first of its kind. 80% defense break, so if anything is defense broken, they're going to be hurting. Water in peril, 125% water in peril, 150% limit burst damage, and a 200 times mod. This is not going to be a ramping move, it's just a 200 times mod finisher, which is okay, but I think that her Brave Shift form is a lot better in terms of being a damage dealer. 200 times 200% true to wield, so she doesn't have to go, similar to there's a unit out there that had 200% true to wield, and also 6 times cap or 600% cap, very nice. 200% beast killer, 100% human killer on both sides. I just wanted to illustrate EX2 and EX3 abilities just for you guys to be informative on that. I'm not really agreeing with why they're doing this, but I'm just saying. She has 60 LB fill on her start, so she can use her limit burst right away. And EX3 is a 500 flat attack boost, which is okay. Not the most amazing thing in the world, it's just okay. And her Brave Shift limit burst also has 25% fist in peril, 12 hit, 200 times, 150% each. So basically, if you do it twice, it'll be, or if you do it once, it'll be already maxed for the next one. So 350 times this. So it's very similar to Zidane, but hers is a 12 hit move instead of a 1 hit or a 2 hit move. And also 250% limit burst damage passive. So I'm going to put that in there very quickly. She has very few skills and she only has 1 use for the grandness, so she's very only useful for like dark visions. I think she's basically dark visions finisher or chainer, because well, I don't know who she would even chain with. Her Brave Shift limit burst has only 12 hits, so I'm not really sure who that would chain with besides the Duke. If you guys find anything else, if you guys find anything for that, let me know in the comment section down below. Only fist can be equipped, but it's not a big deal because it's very similar to Hawkeye, where he wants to equip 2 daggers because fist in peril is just way too good. 25% fist in peril, so it doesn't matter if she can't equip anything else, just equip 2 fists. And there's a very strong dark visions one anyways, so her equipment selection doesn't matter in this case. It's very rare that doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter in this case. So I'm gonna give her a 9 out of 10. I think that she's gonna be a hard hitter, and she can be a finisher or a chainer. It's just that you have to use her in dark visions. I think she's only useful in dark visions, or like you can just one-shot old trials or something, because the 1 use on the grandest is very, very hurting to her score. I know she's probably gonna be at the top of the charts because of her limit burst on her Brave Shift form, but I think she's reliant on the grandness a little too much. Of course, she still has the damage amp, or like she has like the water ramp on her chaining ability of 20%, but you really would like to have the other one at 50% water amp. So that's about it for the review, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I know this is a very long one, but there was a lot of units to review and a lot to go into depth for. So if you like my reviews, please click the like button. If you watched all the way to the very end, I appreciate you. Just type whatever you want in the comment section down below. If you hate me, if you love me, all those kind of good stuff. And make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. I do reviews for both sides, and I'll be doing a review, of course, soon for the new unit on the global side. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.